All right. Hello. Good morning, everyone. Hi. Hello. Good morning. Chào An. Selamat pagi. Hello from Penang Green Council. I'm Hui Ching, your host today. So you are now watching Sembang episode 3, Growing Food in the Cities. All right. So before we start, let's do a round of sound check. If you can hear me clearly, please type in the comment below +1 or give us a lot of love emoticon, show us some love and support. And also don't forget to share this session out to your family and friends so that we can actually learn together while we do some Sembang talk, right? Okay, so let's see how many of us is actually online now. Okay, while waiting for the rest to call in, let me do a little bit of briefing about who we are. So if you are new to us, Penang Green Council was established in year 2011 by Penang State Government itself. So our vision is to actually make Penang State a clean, safe and harnessed green tech state. Therefore, we carry the mission to actually enable, empower and also enrich all stakeholders in practicing sustainable development that protect the environment and also the quality of life. Okay, so many of us were wondering, right? What did actually Penang Green Council do all this while, right? We are not local council, but let me share with you a little bit about our team and also what are the projects that we have. So first of all, we have a think tank and policy. A dedicated team that serves to make Penang nice voices audible with regards of environmental policy making. And also we have a project and planning development team that develop niche environmental market and services in Penang itself. Not forgetting that we do give out awards and incentive by giving some different recognition and also acknowledgement to individual and also organization who had actually contribute to the positive change to Penang State Government. So some of the flagship program that we have are like Penang Green Office projects and also Penang Green Schools. All right. Last but not least, we do a lot of outreach for environmental awareness and education program. To name it a few, we have some workshop and camps that actually cater for different age group, ranging from kids at kindergarten, 5 to 6 years old, to primary school kids, secondary, and also young adult in institutes and also universities. Not forgetting general public as well. For example, like Sembang itself is a program that we created during the MCO period. Okay, so now let's see where are we now? Do we have anyone coming in? Do we have any comments coming in? Never mind. If you are just joining us, do actually follow us or like our Facebook at Penang Green Council. We are also at Instagram itself and also YouTube channel. Right. We also have a good revamped website at www.pgc.com.my, so you can get more details about our program and project from the website itself. Some of the program highlights in July that I would like to share with you. The day after tomorrow, which is on the 2nd of July, we are going to have Climate Change in Penang webinar series. 10 o'clock and pre-registration is needed. On the 25th of July, we have Virtual Green Adventure Online Workshop Series. It's now open for registration as well. And we also have a Virtual Green Map coming up on the 15th of August. So not forgetting our next series of Sembang, which is scheduled on the last Tuesday of every month. In this case, which is on 28th of July. Same time, 11 o'clock, same platform at Facebook Live. All right. So do follow us, Penang Green Council, Facebook, Instagram, and also YouTube. Let me see how many of us actually are online now. Yeah. So it's a pretty morning. We have a good weather there. So I hope everyone have a great start All right, while waiting for the rest, if you're just joining us, hello and welcome to this Sembang session. We are coming to episode 3 of Sembang, Growing Food in the City. I'm Hui Ching, your host today. So Sembang session, like I mentioned just now, is a new series that we started during the MCO period. So we have different invited guests to join us in this interview series to discuss and share about certain topics in a more casual mode, like what we are going to have it today. So what we have today is three special guests that is going to talk about urban farming. Hi, Wong. Hi, Jinli. Good morning. Yeah. So yeah, for Sembang series, we meant to bring the borderless learning space to you. So please help us to share this live stream out so that we can actually learn together while Sembanging, right? You can also drop us a line in the comment if you want to hear different types of topic for future series. Do leave us your comments and our team will collect your ideas and make it happen. Hi, Miss Chiang. Good to see you. Yeah, I see some old friends logging in. Hope you have a nice day. Hi, Asha. Good morning. Yeah, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to share this session out. Yeah. Hello, Renu. Okay, I hope everyone is having a great morning. All right, I'll do a little bit of a background introduction about our topic today, which is growing food in the city. So yeah, it's all about food. It's food related. Who doesn't love food, right? So when we talk about food, we can actually very serious about it. For example, if I'm asking you, where can we get the best chendol? So, there come people from Malacca and Penang claiming that they are having the best chendol, right? So, and I also remember a while ago there was a British chef from a very famous cooking show claiming that our signature dish, the rendang chicken, should be crispy. So, during that time, Malaysian were like pretty upset about it. So what you can see here is like food actually unite people, and we are definitely a nation which is so serious about it, right? But fellow Malaysian, let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought that where does your food actually come from? Are they safe to consume? And why is it sometimes there is a sudden increase in terms of food price? Do you know that there is actually a difference when you actually purchase your food locally rather than imported produce? So all these questions, right, they are interrelated to food safety and also food security issues. Hi, Wan Azwani. Hello there, Revo Anson, if I pronounce your name correctly. Okay, yeah. So talking about food, everyone is so serious. However, at the same time, let me share with you, according to United Nations, up to 68% of the world population is projected to live in urban area by 2050. So this actually put an enormous strain on cities and also the surrounding. A particular challenge is getting enough fresh and nutritious food to the inner cities, and this can also be happen to Penang as well, because we are one of the most urbanized state in Malaysia. So despite 40% of Penang land mass is agriculture land, but it is decreasing, and Penang relies a lot on imported vegetables as we fail to meet local demand, especially during the COVID-19 outbreak. If you notice, the pandemic itself is actually affecting the whole food supply chain due to movement control, and also some of the borders are shut down. Okay, let's see. Oh, hi, Uze. Yeah, Malaysian are very serious about food, so don't mess with us. Okay, right. So to continue, so today we are going to discuss one of the most possible solution on urban agriculture. Could urban agriculture be the answer to meet the future food demand? Of course, urban agriculture include poultry, fisheries, crop planting. And today we are going to narrow it down to crop plantings. That's why we are going to talk about urban farming in a more in-depth manner. All right, so what is urban farming? Simply put, it is growing food in the city or heavily populated municipality. So it can be different mode. It can be your home garden, your community gardens, or some urban farms. It varies in terms of scale. It could be a small one behind your home yard, run by individual, or it can be a community garden run by multiple individual in the neighborhood, or some of the commercial farm which meant to design for commercial purpose, right? And despite urban farming is getting more advanced from day one. So, but we do heard about some of the methods because it is not something new. So to name it a few, we have like hydroponic methods, aquaponic methods, and aeroponics, and etc. So that is pretty much about what is urban farming and some of the model that we might be familiar with. All right, and our background about our topics today. So let's check on our live comment. Yeah, okay. So we do have some of the audience watching with us now. Help us to share it out, okay? The more the merrier, because good things are meant to be shared, right? Okay, so it's 11:07. We are slightly delayed. Okay, without further ado, let me introduce our first guest. For those of you who are teachers or students, I guess you should be very familiar with him because he has been visiting schools and community to share on natural farming. He has attached with Consumer Association of Penang for more than 40 years. Okay, at present, he is the Environmental and Consumer Education Officer in charge of chemical-free farming program. For more than 1,000 farmers and housewives he had trained, they have actually started to switch to chemical-free farming. So he is also being invited as one of the resource person for most of the workshop related to natural farming. So let's welcome Mr. N.B. Subaru from Consumer Association of Penang.
Good morning.
Hello, Mr. Subaru.
Yes, good morning to
Yeah,
everyone and also those who are live watching this one of the best and healthiest program for today. Good
thank
morning.
you. Good morning. Mr. Subaru, would you briefly tell us about CAP Farm?
Okay,
Like, where is
this
it located at?
this PAP farm is 10 Jalan Masjid Negeri beside the big Masjid Jalan Green Lane opposite Free School, and
Mhm.
it's a quarter acre of land behind our main office. The land supposed to be a car park, but our late president, Mr. S.M. Muhammad Idris, has turned that. He say you want more big jungle there. Jungle means a garden jungle, varieties of vegetable. So in our garden, we have 67 types of vegetable that have been grown for the past nearly 10 years, and we have about 47 types of herbs that all Malaysian have been used all this while.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Subaru, for sharing about CAP Farm. We will talk in more details or share more about CAP Farm, about the methods in a while, right? Okay. So I'll see you in a bit, Mr. Subaru.
Yeah.
All right, coming up next, talking about farming, right? So it's very hard for us to actually get younger generation to involve in farming activities nowadays. Why? Because farming actually looks so old school, not trendy, and it needs a lot of hard work under the sun. But there is this young lady who has been very keen on growing food mindfully, right? She's the founder of Pop and Chi Healthy Home Farm, and she also started the Grow Community Market at Auto City, Seberang Perai. So let's see if any one of you actually from Seberang Perai, you should have met her in one of the farmer markets. She's the one that actually started this Grow Community Market. She also run a small tea house, all right, growing her own herbs tea. Imagine. Okay, so that in 2019, she won the Penang Green Environmental Sustainability Awards. So let's welcome Miss Chi Hui Yi.
Hello, everyone.
Hi Hui Yi.
Yeah.
Wow, nice
Hey, good
background.
morning, everyone.
Good
Nature.
morning. Yeah.
Yes,
So where
under
are
the
you
sun.
now? Oh yeah, under the sun. Where is your exact
Yeah,
location?
I'm
Come
actually
again.
now I'm outdoor again, always outdoor
Mm-hmm.
person, and I'm in this archaeology site, Lembah Bujang.
Mm-hmm. All right. So
Yes.
would you actually
Yep.
tell us more about your home farm? Is it somewhere in the city as well?
Yes, our home farm located at Persiaran Minden. So it's exactly like just close to USM. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, in a residential place, so a lot of people are very shocked, like impossible, I never heard of anything in Persiaran Minden or
Uh-huh.
Galugo or this place. Yes,
Yeah.
so we
Okay.
located there. Our tea house is also there.
Oh, all right. So can't wait for you to review more about your tea house and your home farm later, Hui. So yeah, I'll speak to
Yes,
you
sure.
soon. Yeah, who can imagine, right? We have one CAP farm in the middle of the cities of Jalan Masjid Negeri and also another home farm in Galugo area. Wow, that's very impressive. So last but not least, let me introduce you this gentleman. I would like to start with a very interesting story about him, how he actually started his farming journey, right? He actually started to realize, few years back, he realized that he actually consumed more chemical and pesticide than he can from the food he actually eaten. So he decided to go for organic food, but then it cost him a bomb. And that's how it actually triggered him to come up with ideas to actually fabricate a farming system that allow everyone access to fresh organic vegetable without the use of pesticide. Soon after that, his effort actually caught the attention by the mainstream media. Why? Because he has his farm on a rooftop. Imagine, all right, on a rooftop. So he was awarded with Agropreneurship Grant by Federal Agriculture Marketing Authorities, FAMA, in 2018, and he is the CEO and also the founder of Victory Farm at Rooftop Malaysia. Let's welcome Mr. Gary Lau.
Hi everyone, this is Gary here from Victory Farm.
Wow, again, another outdoor background, Mr. Gary.
Thank you.
So, are you at your farm now?
Yes, I'm at my farm.
So, where is your farm exactly?
Jelutong, at Jelutong area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The address is 3-3-1 Jalan Ahmad Noor. It's actually
Mm-hmm.
opposite the police station of Jelutong. It's on the
Okay,
rooftop, yeah.
that is so cool. A farm on the rooftop, a farm in the city, and it's sky high. So yeah, so we will discuss more about different methods of farming and also different type of farm from three of our guests. All right, thank you, Mr. Gary. Let's welcome the rest of the two guests back to the stage now.
Hi.
Oh, good to see everyone back to the stage. Okay, let me check on the live comment. Well, we have like Asha, hello, we have Naveen. Good to see everyone. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, so to our guests, we have heard briefly about the three farms that you guys are running. So my question is it because you are good at planting, that's why you start your farm, or because you start your farm, then you become good at farming? So it's like yeah, chicken and egg question. But my question is, do you actually born with green fingers, and how do you actually start with farming itself? So shall we start with the ladies first? Hui.
Okay, sure. If you're asking me about farming, I know nothing before I start my farm.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I remember that I was just coming back from Thailand. I lived in the jungle for 2 months. where I
Oh.
actually realized that we are stupid, like really stupid, because we don't know what we are eating. We can't even find a clean source of water. We can't even recognize the food is actually available around us. We thought that siu pak choy or like a gai lan, all these are vegetables, but we sort of like lost connection with all the available food around us, like especially edible in the nature. So then
Mm-hmm.
I started to think, oh my God, whatever I used to learn in school is nothing. Then when I come back to Penang, actually wanted to start to planting is a big challenges, especially in the city. We thought that everything can grow, but
Mm-hmm.
sadly to say that nothing grow in an urban farm. So of
Oh.
course, it's good enough that I'm stupid in agriculture, and keep on trying. And it started with pop doing a composting in our home. Then we start to regenerate the soil in the urban. That's one of the main thing that we are doing until today. We do our own composting and regenerate the soil in the city within 3 to 6 months, and the soil turn to healthy. The all the living come alive again. And that's the moment that I think that nobody can't plant. It's the way that you are using and the knowledge that you have. Actually, with a
Mm-hmm.
basic thing, everyone can plant. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, all
So
right. That's
that's
how you
that's what I
started your
think.
journey. Yeah, yeah. It
Yes, that's
actually
how I
surprised
started.
me.
Mm,
It actually surprised me because imagine Hui herself actually stay in the jungle, and I like the idea.
mm,
As long as we stay foolish, we learn a lot about what nature can actually offer us. Huh?
yeah.
Right. So how about Mr. Subaru? Do you actually born with green fingers?
Yeah, actually, I was from Teluk Intan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from a plantation sector. My family lived, my parents lived, and my siblings, 9 of us, uh, live in an estate plantation. So, home garden is actually our tradition. So when I was young, from the child to the young, I've seen all kind of vegetables being planted by my parents, especially my mother, who every day after work she was in the garden. So we slowly, we learn the name of the vegetables, even fruits. So people actually who live in the rural area, they know how important is the vegetables are. So without even every day in our cooking, we have either one or two vegetables are there. But no fish, no mutton, no chicken, because in a rural area, so less. So we ate lot of vegetables. So we have to grow lot of vegetables and without pesticide. So that, I mean, that was a good example and a good experience for me when I came back to Penang.
Mm-hmm.
Even though still my family in a rural area. So when I joined CAP, then without apart from we are talking every time, when people when listen CAP, they will run away. Oh, please don't go to CAP. They say don't eat this, don't eat that, don't eat this. Then we start giving them alternative, how to grow vegetable and name of the vegetable. So it has gone now. What she has said correct. Yeah, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
become more stupid. You see vegetable, we run away. We throw even the school. They throw away the vegetable. They only eat chicken and the fish. They throw away because they don't know the content, the healthy part of the vegetable.
Yeah.
So and slowly we change in Kappa.
Okay, Mr. Subaru, you're so lucky because you have a very conducive environment for you to pick up farming and also planting, right? Back
Yeah,
in Teluk Intan.
yes,
And yeah, we are so thankful that you're now with CAP because you are the one that actually, the messenger to actually teach more people from the community and schools about
yes,
natural farming.
yes.
Okay, so how about Mr. Gary? How do you actually started your farming journey?
Well, okay. So back to the question: do I have green fingers? No, I don't. Like many of us here, I don't have any
Uh-huh.
green fingers. Whatever I planted initially died. Okay.
Okay.
My background, I was in the finance industry for over 12 years. So it's
Mm-hmm.
only like few years ago, I think 5 years ago, I started off this journey.
Mm-hmm.
So I started off from home using soil and pots, just like many of us. So I personally faced many challenges like space, constant watering, constant weeding, suffer from back pain due to hours of bending, lacking, of growing knowledge and patience, and that's the key. So that's when I thought if there's a better way to do this, after years of research, failures after failures, try and error, back to
Mm-hmm.
square one. So repeat over and over again, and finally we got into vertical farming, and the first to start growing vertically, aeroponic at a rooftop on a shop lot. So it's the first of its kind in Malaysia. After that, we received much interviews, yeah, from the media,
Mm-hmm.
and now we have vertical farm trend, ripple effect, and I hope that we can have more and more urban vertical farmers, rising up.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gary. So the conclusion from the first question is basically you don't need a green fingers. To our audience out there, if you keen to start something, as long as you're willing to learn, of course, if you have a very conducive environment like how Mr. Subaru grew up, that is even better. But as long as you're willing to learn, be patient, like what Mr. Gary mentioned, I think you are able to grow something no matter how. And who knows, someday you can grow food in the city. So, okay, so talking about all this farming thing, and we get to know how three of you started, would you mind to share with our audience here what are the methods that you actually apply or adopt at your own farm, and how does it actually benefits you and also the community around you? Maybe we start with CAP, a community garden first. How does this farm actually benefits the rest, and what are the methods? The natural farming, maybe you can explain more, Mr. Subaru.
Okay, in at CAB, this quarter acre land, we are actually we are quite different methods lah. One, we are going chemical free farming. We
Mm-hmm.
always tell the people you have to grow something. If you want to eat a vegetable, it should come from a soil. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
then if you don't have a land, never mind, you can find a recycle container, tin, bottles, because we part of the state government where we do want to make this Penang beautiful island into another rubbish and garbage island, so whatever we throw, whatever we use, recycle it, so we bring in a lot of housewives now. A lot of housewives are coming, and they knew that the vegetable they are buying is contained a lot of pesticide. So how you want to grow a vegetable without pesticide? Then so we teach them how to compose. Compost mean from your kitchen compost, your waste from your kitchen, how to make compost. That compost can become a fertilizer. Then we teach also children the how the seeds look like. How do you plant a seed? Then how do you grow? This is a really a successful project for us because we have trained more than 300 kindergarten children, and we gave them a small pot with a soil and two type of vegetables they've grown. One is bandi and okra, and the other one is chili. So the
Yeah,
children are love, the first time they're seeing how is a lady's fingers look like, they tied, green color and without any pest lah. And we
yeah.
also teach these people how to overcome, how to manage from the pest. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing the people, throughout the country, they see the pest, the only immediately they'll say kill it, you know. So we say no. There's two type of insect. One is beneficial, and the other one is not. The good one eat the bad one. So let this created by the God. So we teach
Yeah.
them how important the pests are, how to
All
manage
right.
the pest with using pest repellent. No need to buy anything from your home. So these are the type that we teach them in our agriculture, or we call this chemical free farming, because we
All right.
know that there is actually we call ugly culture is going on throughout the country. People say oh, mine is organic, mine is non-chemical, but actually it's contain chemicals. We want people grow your own vegetable, eat that, you'll be very happy. Yeah.
All right. Okay. It is such a beautiful sharing from Mr. Subaru because CAP really did a lot of educational program to promote about natural farmings, and of course, you promote about chemical free and not to kill most of the pests, but in a more natural way, we actually survive together with your vegetables. Thank you, Mr. Subaru. So let's see about how about the vertical farm that Mr. Gary is actually working on now. So yeah, share with us more about the methods that you're adopting and how does it actually benefits you, Mr. Gary.
Okay, so yeah, so we specialize in vertical farming via aeroponics. It's actually a soilless cultivation integrating vertical towers and aeration technique and all natural plant-based chemical-free bioponics. So more so, we are able to grow up to like 10,360 heads of vegetables in just 1,200 square feet, a small compound in this rooftop. If we have 1 acre of land, our approximate production, will be 348,000 heads of vegetables. And that's how vertical farming can be. So how does it benefit, us and the community? Now, these were the problem faced by our growers before. Number one, no space to grow, no green fingers, need constant watering, need to weed, dig, hassle, backache, tedious work, and etc. Pain
Mm-hmm.
number two, market veggies full of pesticides, growth hormones, toxic chemicals, not fresh, getting more expensive, and etc. And pain number three will be, organic vegetables are very expensive. It's even more expensive nowadays. And of course, just like what Mrs. Subarao actually have mentioned, I'm not sure is it actually fully organic, and also very limited choice. So I can echo, with Mr. Subarao. And after they have discovered, vertical farming and found that these benefits vertical farming have helped them solve the above problems. Number one, save space. Using your only 1 square foot of land space, by tapping onto the vertical space that can grow 120 times more plants. So save water. Water is recycled and is auto irrigated. Save hassle, very low maintenance. Just top up the water and add fertilizer. Save money, no need to buy expensive organic veggies anymore. And then save time, no need to spend hours on gardening. Just set up the system and it's good to go. And free from what? Free from pesticides, growth hormone, coloring, dye, wax, preservative, and other unwanted toxins. Free from labor, no soil, no toil, no weed, no dig, and just a simple setup and can start growing. Free from climate change as well, like flood, drought. And own grown, fresh, safe, your quality control is ensured, direct fresh from farm to table, increase in terms of yield, in terms of growth, and in terms of production. Yeah, that's my sharing.
Oh, okay. So there's definitely a showcase of how we actually use technology and also the innovative idea to actually bring agriculture to another level. Yeah, the vertical farming methods. How about Hui Yi? Yeah, you said that you stay in the jungle of Thailand. So did you bring back any special methods for your farm?
Yeah, actually, I don't really bring back any method, but the idea that I'm have from after staying in the jungle is impressive. It's totally changed the point of view for me due to food and lifestyle. And for us, we always talking about organic or natural, right? But if you actually go to the rural area, very rural, I mean, they ask me what is organic, and I tell them, no pesticide. They say that is it at the back of my house considered organic for you? I say absolutely, you are beyond organic, and I like yeah, they don't even talk about organic or not. So the vegetable that in the market should label I'm chemical vegetable grown. It's not supposed to be like we are organic and they are chemical, right? So, but
Mm-hmm.
it's actually we don't talk about chemical or not chemical, but it's the way of the mindset that our living. We are talking about quality lifestyle, quality food, and that is the main idea. And if you can see the people that live in the it's not like in urban, they have more quality lifestyle, they are much more happier, and their idea is always about community things. So this is actually giving me a lot of idea on things. And when we are much more happier, we are less stressed. We don't think that we need to eat a lot or earn too much of money or whatever, you know. So this
Mm-hmm.
actually help us to give a different kind of point of view when we start our farming.
Mm-hmm.
Or we started because we are more focusing on self sustainability. It's all about sustain. If it's not sustainable, then it is not gonna be long enough for us to do in farming. So for me, I'm very lazy. I don't want a lot of work. I don't want to be like I have to monitor all the time all this. So I prefer it to be happen in a natural way. So we do a lot of composting in our farm. We have a chicken and ducks. We compose. We our composting feed to the ducks. The ducks produce a lot of things for us, and we use it again in composting. Compose you in growing vegetables, and like Mr. Subaru said, we also teach people collect the seeds because and kept doing a super good job. They are one of the best in Malaysia, that I ever see. They collect a lot of seeds. They pack in small packaging, and they give it out for free for people. This is amazing job, and no people are talking about seeds because my teacher are the pioneer seed saving seeds bank in Thailand. So we really emphasize a lot on seeds too. And
Mm-hmm.
of course we do solar energy, solar panel in our farm, and we also have a rainwater harvesting system. So we talk about reuse the resources that we already have in our world, and by doing like living peacefully, working, understanding nature, understanding your location, and this really help us to work in balance in the nature. We are happier, less effort, and no money spent because all rain harvesting energy. And our neighbor are very happy because we always give them a lot of food, and in exchange they start to grow and they give us. I remember one time I grow a lot of this lady's finger, and I pass it to my neighbor, and I didn't know that my neighbor grows something. And what happened, she bring like 5 avocado to my house, and this is from my farm. So if you are talking about value and money, this no sense, right? Lady's finger exchange with avocado. So, so that's what when we live beyond money, live beyond like so-called everything, but focusing on quality living, then it's totally opposite of what we are doing. So we are focusing on quality living instead of
Oh, I guess Hui, we lost you for a second. It's okay. Okay, let me do a small conclusion, right, from what Mr. Subaru shared about nature farming with soy to Mr. Gary, the soilless farm, and to what Hui shared about is the way of lifestyle. Oh, welcome back, Hui. Sorry, I
sorry.
think we lost at a moment, a few seconds where you actually stop at you exchange avocado and lady fingers with your neighbors. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Uh,
I guess we are focusing on quality lifestyle and living
mhm,
instead of thinking how to produce the biggest fruit or the heaviest fruit
mhm.
or more crops or like that. So we are focusing on quality living. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Hui. So I was mentioning,
Yeah,
right,
thank you.
no matter what methods that you guys are trying on or working on, from the one with soy to the soilless farm at the rooftop, and who can actually imagine that farming can actually relate to the way of a lifestyle, a very zen lifestyle, like what Hui mentioned just now. It's more on self-sustain. So I see the common goal among all of you, whereby you guys want to actually bring healthy and safe food to closer to everyone, right? Closer to ourselves, closer to our neighborhoods, so that everyone can actually access to these healthy and fresh foods, right? Of course, urban farming bring a lot of benefits, including like you can actually improve your own physical activities and make yourself healthier, and then you access fresh fruits and vegetables, not forgetting that the values among the neighbors, right, the sharing and caring values, and also educational and entrepreneurs opportunities like what we have from the Victory Farm, right? So I think no pain, no gain. So our guests must have went through multiple obstacles to achieve what they have achieved today. So I think following this, we would like to hear from three of you about the challenges as a urban farmers, right? What kind of challenges that you are facing as an urban farmers, and what kind of support do you actually need to sustain your farm? Maybe we start with Mr. Gary first, your commercial farm.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what are the challenges and opportunities in urban farming? So, with vertical farming concept, at least we have lesser problem to deal with. Yeah. However, we still face some pest issues, but it's still manageable.
Mm-hmm.
Normally for pest issues, I will go to CAP, to get their own make neem oil. Yeah, it worked wonders. Yeah, Mr. Subarao are expert in this. Yeah, so of course, heat is also one of the main issue, for urban farmers. So we are actually, finding ways, to actually reduce the heat, especially in terms of lowland. Yeah. So another question is that what kind of support do we need, to sustain the farm? Now, if you wish to run an urban farm as a business, then profitability are always the lifeline of any business to be sustainable in order to continue growing or producing.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the unfortunate events that are happening right now, yeah, are people are rushing into setting up urban vertical farms, spending
Mm-hmm.
tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of their hard-earned money or investors' money without having a good foundation of how farming for business works, and eventually
Mm-hmm.
close down their urban farms and businesses. So you got
Mm-hmm.
to be careful not to be sold by the hype of what others are promoting or showing off their
Mm-hmm.
farms, telling you that you can make a lot of money in urban vertical farming. Yes, you are able to make that money. Even our sales projection, with 1,200 square feet, our return of investment is around 16,200 per cycle in gross profit. If let's say
Mm-hmm.
1 acre of land, the return of investment can be 580,000 in sales. That's what vertical farming can do. But if and unless you know how to do it right and make it happen, if not, it's disastrous, like some of them out there. Because
Yeah.
farming does not equate to business. So be wise to invest in education first. Do preliminary market research and studies, count your costs and etc. And that's what we do. Clients come to us for advice. We give them practical consultation, down to earth, makes sense, no nonsense. Even pour cold water on them, but definitely will save them hundreds of thousands before they regret it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Gary, for sharing from the business point of view. I think it definitely benefits those who wanted to venture into a commercial farm, right? And also, I think not forgetting about CAP, like the gurus of farming, urban farming. So, Mr. Subaru, would you like to share about what kind of challenges that you have faced for CAP farms? I believe that that
Yeah,
farm is not only your individual efforts, it's from
yes,
everyone. Yeah. What
yeah.
kind of
See,
challenges?
I have traveled until JB to Kelantan and also Perlis, and people mostly, the complaint is that they don't have a land to grow,
Mm-hmm.
and if they want to grow, and they want a fast to make money lah. That's what Gary said. Even
Mm-hmm.
Masonobu Fukuoka have said that the ultimate goal of farming is not to make money or growing crops in. It's
Mm-hmm.
part of the human being.
Mm-hmm.
The living things are there. So
Yeah.
people still the lack of education, and they want to grow something. They want the yield very fast in a month's time. You know, you have to wait. You have to wait. You have to wait, and and people also same. Uh, if they think if the challenge is if some people grow organic farming at the vegetable, if extra 10 or 50 cents, please pay to the farmer. You know, so if you want a chemical vegetable, you can grow, you can get even cheaper, no 1 ringgit or 2 ringgit. But a chemical, non-chemical farm, it's grown like what Gary is growing without chemical. And so, but people have to understand, even you they sell like coriander, is 40 ringgit now 1 kilo. You can plant yourself. Even pudina, the mint, you can plant yourself. But people want to buy if the price is expensive. They are they make all kind of noise. But the support that what we need also, the other states lah, they should follow how the Penang state government is doing, supporting a lot of, people to grow in the schools.
Mm,
There are a lot of schools now start growing. They use vegetable, chemical-free vegetable. You are right. People are start buying earthworms from us now. The earthworm is created with the God. The earthworm will eat all the compost for you and give you the wonderful fertilizer that not available anywhere in the world. If that much of nutrients are there in the compost where given by the earthworm. Now children start making love with the earthworm. Last time they used to kill, give it to the fish. Now they
yeah.
want to give it to the farm. So these are the things that what we need support from the farm.
Okay. All right. So so obviously we can see that CAP as the educational arm for natural farming. What you face is like people not only lacking of knowledge and skill, they are also lacking of patience. I guess that is the challenging part when you want to educate someone to go into farmings, right? So how about Hui Yi? You as an urban farmer, what kind of obstacles that you have actually come across?
I also do not know, but basically, I guess most of the people that I see, they start and they close out the farm, and mostly I can see is actually from their mindset. I think that's the biggest challenges of almost everyone in life and almost when you started and farm. So a lot of people having that mindset that wow, I see opportunity in earning like thousand and thousand, so they just jump in, right, and then they start and then fail. So the idea of farming is like Mrs. Tubaru said, if you would like to earn a lot of money, please don't come in agriculture or even talk about natural or organic food. So it's like for being. So I think the question when come to these challenges, you should ask yourself what is actually important for you in your life. Is it money or is it life?
Mhm.
So I guess if you get the mindset right, and start from simplicity, anything that is complicated, then you are not able to have time or effort to sustain it. So don't start. And if you have a mindset where if you can reuse resources that is around you already, it's a gift around us. We don't damage it, we reuse it. And we don't need to think I have to create this, I have to create that. But reuse resources is one of the thing. You see the earthworm is already available and the leaves and the grass and the nature is already there. So because of our mind keep thinking something is out there but not in here, not here. So we don't balance. So I guess that is the biggest challenges when most of the people come into farm. And of course, me too. I started with a journey like I have to buy, buy, buy. But then I started to learn more. Then I think everywhere is resources, so I don't need to actually buy. Then
Yeah.
I started with that mindset. And the kind of support that we need to have is actually have a sense of more, we create more experience, more community experience. I mean, direct experience, not in the photo. Wow, watermelon looks like this, and a passion fruit look like this, and there's a lot of farm tour. A lot of kids mistaken the passion fruit is apple, so that's a big thing. They never see a chicken before. They never see how chicken lay eggs, and this is something big, I think. So is the support that we need to have is to be able to bring these kids, provide a very nice environment for them to learn. It's very important. If they know how chicken look like, it's not like a KFC thing, the Thai. I think this will be pretty good. Pretty happy. They will think the chicken looks like the KFC Thai. They will draw like that. So it's sad to see that actually, but
Uh-huh.
I think having a good environment is something that the Penang government should create more like this to support the community to have the direct learning experience, and then to have a right mindset on lifestyle. That will be really helpful.
All right.
That's it.
I totally agree with you, Hui. I think in terms of support, to conclude from our guests, especially like what Hui just mentioned, to create the community experience. So, you guys out there, for our followers and audience, if you are parents, teachers, bring your kids to a nature environment like a farm, or something outdoor rather than your indoor shopping malls, right, during the weekends. And also give the cultivate some of the hobbies like planting some edible gardens in your own home, so that they learn about plants rather than just exercising their thumbs and playing video games. And talking about challenges, we do have like past issues, we have people mindset, and also what we mentioned is about what you are actually looking at for yourself. Are you looking at a more healthy lifestyle, or you want something more than that? Are you complicating your own life? So that is what you have mentioned. But I think what I want to mention here is, apart from what you have mentioned just now, I think the biggest challenge that we as a human population that is facing now is the climate change itself, right? So under the climate change scenario, food become one of the issues. So it is getting more serious when we face disease and also natural disaster that hit us. For example, the COVID-19. So I remember when we have the MCO first started in March, people start to go and stock up their food, because why? Nobody want to starve themselves, right? So this actually indicates that we are actually vulnerable when we face natural disasters and also diseases. So for three of our guests here, do you think that, or do you actually foresee that urban farming as one of the potential solution or alternatives in tackling food security issues, especially under climate change scenario? Yeah. So shall we start with maybe Hui again?
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. During MCO is very interesting for me. A lot of people started to ask me, "You have vegetable and all this." I'm like, "Yeah, but enough for myself and some people, but not all." So, is the food, like, of course, it's the fear that actually make people buy and stock up food. And then it started to have this like you can't import food, and and the transportation is not working, Cameron is not sending vegetable
Mm,
down, and
yeah.
everyone is quite panicked with that. So the of course fear number one and two is really lack of real fresh food. So then people start to stock up canned food. So this is what happened. And yes, for sure, this if and people ask me, "Are you okay?" I said, "Okay, I have almost everything. I have egg, I have vegetable, I have, like, I'm sustainable, quite sustainable. So it's fine for me, but I wish to see my family and friends the same way. So if they are growing something, I believe that we can exchange food, we can live in a better environment. So if you start something now, it's definitely a big thing. And my father, imagine, my father is like 60 years old, and he know that I'm in the urban farming, and I started in his home before, but he disagrees, sort of like, no, this is, no future, no, like all this stuff. And and then he started farming in MCO period time. MCO,
Mm-hmm.
and he start alone, 60 years old, taking Janko, and he start. And if you follow my Facebook, you see amazing. I can say he do a better job than me. You know?
Wow.
So so imagine that with a lone effort, with only a mindset that I wanted to grow something for my family. That's it. And you need some basic skill like composting. We give him some compost, and he started like this. So
Mm-hmm.
then he grow amazing vegetable. So if everyone grow something, you will like have too much food, and you will give to your neighbor for sure, and your neighbor will give back in return. They cook curry for us, and they cook like many things, they will just give it to us. So I think it's like a lifestyle thing. When you come to urban farming, it's not only food, and it's also reduce your fear. You don't feel panic, and you know that you have a lot of things back home, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't need to stock up your things too. Yeah. So for
Mm.
sure, I will encourage everyone just start something even in a pot. Is I like Mr. Subaru say, is even you use recycle container and just start something. One chili plant is enough, or one serai ginger is also okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
So it's a lot more on collective effort, and also you manage to reduce the anxiety level among yourself and also the community. So yeah,
Yeah.
what's your thought about this, Mr. Gary?
Okay. So, just to echo with Ms. Hoyi, on the alternatives. Yes, as an advocate for urban vertical farming and from a food risk mitigation point of view, yeah, is to have many groups of urban farms in every town, every cities, every state. Is definitely a good diversification for food security. Due to the fact of COVID-19, this pandemic, when MCO restriction order enforces, we have an incident where vegetables from Cameron Highland can't be transported out and are forced to throw away. Few hundred tons of vegetables. 1 ton is 1,000 kilo, and that's few 100,000 kilos of vegetables that could feed a lot of people. Yeah. So if I say if another similar occasion arises, the central distribution of food once again are forced to lock down. Neighboring countries are not willing to export food. Urban farmer plays a very important role to sustain the community around the area.
Mm, yeah, I totally agree. How about Mr. Subaru? Do you see the future of urban farming that actually able to help in tackling food security issues?
Yes, 100%. Even not only in Malaysia, in throughout the world, people. Even a few days ago, I read an article that
Mm-hmm.
a couple who studied in the United States returned to India and they start urban farming. And in India, the government is encouraging and supporting each every family. If you have a rooftop, please plant something. So
Yeah.
even in our country during MCO, people were making all kind of noise. The prices of vegetable increase. We can't buy. This is a culture in Malaysia where the 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 the, the sellers always make money. They will see the situation. Okay,
Mm,
this is the time we make money. So the people no vegetables. So what they did online food. They use
shopping.
all kind of food, even including water. They order from online. See that much of lazy the Malaysian are. So I think the only alternative is urban farming. That's the solution for urban farming. Like what we said, that you plant a chili, you want to take from your plant rather than buy 1 kilo, and you're going to waste half of that. So there's no wastage. So and you want a brinjal, take a 2 3 and chemical free. And if you grow, whole family is involved in this agriculture sector, then you
Mm,
can teach your children, what is this, what is that. So everything. So the future is in urban farming.
yeah. I like the ending part. The future is urban farming. You see, like we definitely see urban farming come all its way now to actually sustain ourselves. And at the same time, I also saw some comments from our audience. For example, like Revo Anson, he mentioned that he has a farm exactly like what he has now, back at his own town. I'm not too sure. Maybe Anson, you are now somewhere far away from your hometown. You have chickens, ducks, and fruits. That is amazing, right? And also, yeah, I saw New Love saying that after watching what our guest is sharing, she is pretty much motivated to start with her own farm now. All right, and yeah, I'll read out some of the comments later. But speaking of which, right, I think three of our guests do agree that urban farming is the future. But my last question is, how can we actually engage and encourage more people, especially the young one, to get involved in urban farming? And what is your advice, or where can they actually get more resource or reference if they really want to start their own farm? Yeah. Maybe we start from the business point of view, like if they want to start a commercial farm. So how can we actually encourage them more? Mr. Gary.
Okay, so for to engage young people, yes, that's for sure. Yeah, we hope to raise more and more young and passionate agropreneurs for this industry, urban farming. Especially, we are also moving towards urban vertical smart farming, introducing more innovative advanced agrotech like
Mhm.
IoT, Internet of Things, and etc. We also have a team of researchers from USM collaborating with us on this integration to help make urban farming a better way of cultivation.
Mhm.
So, where to get the relevant resources if someone wants to start farming in the city? Now, first off, is to start something small. Of
Mhm.
course, we have vertical farming system for homes, which you can start exploring and experimenting to grow vertically. We call it a We Grow Tower. So it's just using 1 square foot of space to grow 54 heads of vegetables.
Mhm.
Then invest in education. We also
Mhm.
run a 3 days We Farm for this intensive online course to equip agripreneurs or urban farmers to have all the necessary foundation, the nuts and bolts, so that you can make informed decisions and count the cost of running an urban farm business before plunging yourself with huge investments to set up a farm and lose money. And lastly, once you have equipped yourself with education, then let's work together to make Malaysia a country that can generate food not only for self-sustainability but also exporting our produce to create wealth for our nation.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you very much for your piece of advice. And yeah, to our audience out there, if you would like to learn more about vertical farming, feel free to contact Gary through his Facebook page that we are going to project later. Then, yeah, how about Mr. Subaru? Yeah,
See,
what? Mm-hmm,
instead of building more hospitals and setting up more clinics, maybe the government or relevant authorities to set up more community gardens. There are a lot of vacant land, and this is one way where you can let all the communities get together. And there's one particular developer in Telekumbar, an invited cap, he's on a rooftop garden for 20th floor, where he allocated about 60 lots to each family, let them
mm-hmm,
grow. And whatever harvesting, after 6 months, he has to give it to the other tenants. So
oh,
maybe the government should encourage more developers to build a rooftop. Maybe Kerry can go in there, to teach people,
yeah.
either soil or soilless, up to you, but begin with something that you must plant or grow something. And
Mm-hmm,
also have more activity in schools. Let the children know about more on agriculture, what is garden, what is the name of the tools. Even you go and tell the tool, they doesn't know, they will just unthumb you, or this is the name of the tool, everything. So let them involve, put their fingers into the soil, let them touch all the microorganisms, everything. Like what we said, take them to the jungle, let them see the leaves and the insect and the pests and the birds and everything, and let more youth involved in this agriculture or garden. Give
yeah.
them supportive, give them some loan. Okay, set up these and people will buy. So I think it's time for the consumers to go after the farmer, not the farmer take his yield, go to the market and wait for the people to come and buy. In India, that's what's happening. There's a village, he grows, and the neighboring all the people go to his garden and buy on the spot. Okay, I want 2 kilo of this vegetable, he cut and give. But
Mm-hmm.
here, the farmer is have to lose, his transport cost, his package, and everything. So the relevant authorities have to play more role. If you want a healthy society, you need a healthy food. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. We need more educational opportunities, and also we need the authorities to create a space for urban farm, and also
Yes.
someone to actually connect in between farmers and consumers. Speaking of which, what is your thought, Hui, on this? Hui Yi.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I
How can
think
we actually
for me,
encourage?
I think for
Mhm.
me is Uh, you, I think it's too many information out there, nowadays, because especially for youth, when we want to know something, we look Google, or YouTube or whatever. We want to grow food with YouTube, we Google, right? So I guess that's something that the youth really want to learn, want to know is feel. Go to the place where you think you want to grow vegetable. First, visit a farm and just feel, is this something you want or not? Question yourself. Don't just blindly believe or listen or hear what people say or look the information and it's working and you do it. First, to really real experience, go to cat farm, go to maybe Gary farm, to just really visit and ask yourself, is this what you want? Can you maintain it? And first ask these two questions before you put yourself to more stress and more things. Then you experience it and then you start with something very small. And I started with a pot, one pot, maybe few ringgit, one soy, few ringgit, good seed, good guidance, and that's it. And I start. So there's a lot of information, and I personally think that CAP is the one of the most resourceful place that I ever visit, and to learn more like localized thing like veggie, seeds, and composting, and even pests. This is a very good place to get all information to feel like, is it this is something that you want? And another thing that then you create sort of out of that, what kind of living that you want. At the end of the day, what is important, right, for us? So I guess for youth, it's important to know that don't just blindly believe and see, and people say work and then you start, just ask yourself first, priority. And secondly, the resources you can get. And I'm really happy that if you want to have a visit to my farm and to see whether this is something you like, that's the first thing that you have to do before you start anything. Then
Yeah.
you decide later. Yeah, something like that.
Uh,
I think that's the best way, I guess, to ask yourself.
Yeah, totally agree. We learn from the best, right? So, and also Hui did mention about yeah, don't follow blindly. I think technology is like a double-sided sword. It helps and it also actually ruin. It helps in a way like how Gary actually utilized technology to actually upgrade, bring your farm to another level. But on the other hand, if you follow blindly, it could actually cost you a lot, right? If you don't really study or do your own homework. Thank you very much for all the sharings that we had. I think, wow, we are slightly uh, running out of time. But anyway, I think thank you very much for the interview session to our guests. I guess now is our time to actually take a look at our live comments and also some of the questions. So yeah, can we have the first question on the yeah? Wow, okay. We have a question from Navindan. Okay, he was asking about how can urban farming actually affect rural economy? Should we encourage urban community to start producing their own food, or should we not allow condition of poverty among members of rural community to get worsened? Is urban agriculture a good practice to build resilient community to pandemic like COVID-19? Yeah, anyone want to take this question? So mostly, yeah, Hui, maybe you can try to get
Yeah,
answer, Naveen. Mm.
I would like to answer this question is because I start from nothing. Like when I come back, I start from nothing. Means that no money and no resources and nothing, no knowledge. Okay, no, now nothing about urban. So I started by learning step by step with the nature and getting in touch with the community like CAP and like people like all local farmers. This is how I started. So this costs no money, and surprisingly, a lot of organic farmer are open and they are willing to share. Really, like a real farmer, they work by their hand, they know
Mm-hmm.
how hard it is to be a farmer, so they are willing to share. They are more open-minded. Start with nothing, and the resources is enough for you to do composting. Start with that, and then you will see some crops. And then we teach people how to, not only selling crops but upsell it. Like we turn a lot of things to tom yum paste, and then people can actually use it. So this
Yeah.
is how we need to see in the agriculture field, not only produce itself. Yeah, something like that. So this is really
Mhm.
helping a lot of rural area, and the people that we, which is like me, started with zero money and
Mhm.
zero knowledge, you know. So everything can do it. If I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah. Okay. So to our audience out there, take note that farmers, especially urban farmers, like what we have here, CAP, Pop and Chi Farm, and also Victory Farm, they are very open to share. So don't hesitate to go and ask and visit their farm, so that you don't really yeah, need to spend too much time on all the failure part. Okay. So how about can we have the second questions or some comments, please? Question from Miss Chiang. Okay, Kylene. Kylene was asking about. She said that she read about microplastic that found in apple and carrots. So she was wondering if we use plastic pots or like cooking oil plastic container to plant the food or to grow the plants, will the microplastic absorb into the edible plant? Wow, good question. Um, can we have Mr. Subaru to take these questions about
Okay,
microplastics?
right. See, I don't know why he has to cook in a plastic container. There are better containers that you can cook. So the plastic, not only in vegetables, even in the microplastic you have in a fish. The sea is there, and the people are throwing and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
people have to change their mindset first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there are alternative for you to use what kind of containers are there. But
Yeah.
if you're going to have more plastic, you want to buy more food in the plastic, hot drinks into the plastic, then you asking for a trouble. So I think there should be a change into the consumers. So if you come across this kind of things, yes, please don't follow that. There is an alternative. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we actually have a better options.
Yes,
Uh,
that also. Yes.
Different grade of plastic, I guess. For example, like I think for Gary's farm, right, you do use some containers or something to actually contain your plants, but with a better quality. Am I right? What is your thought on this, Gary?
Yes, it depends on how you cultivate them. So basically, all these structures that we have, it's just a structure to support them. So let's say, we use what to grow them in terms of mediums. We use cocoa peat, we use perlite, all these other mediums, that's naturally driven. So it really depends on how you actually cultivate them. That is more important.
Mm,
So yeah, I mean, like echoing to Mr. Subarao says, there's a lot of methods that you can actually grow. So
mm.
try to explore them out. Try to explore them out.
Yeah, right. Oh, so I hope this actually answer your question, Kylie. So next question, we have question from Zara Lee Quick. How sustainable are chemical-free farming? So she mentioned that she noticed when she go completely chemical-free, they get a lot of pests and also fungus after one or two harvests. So yeah, her question is, chemical free farming, is it sustainable? How sustainable it is?
See, yeah, let me answer to
Yeah.
her.
Mm-hmm.
See, sustainable into the chemical-free farming, yes, many success are there. People, many of our farmers contact throughout the country, they are now, even there are one Chinese farmer in Sekinchang, no, in Banting, was suffering from a skin disease.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, he was using this panchakavya, 5 item from a cow,
Mm-hmm.
and he's now the skin disease has gone. Not only the human being, but also his soil become one of the good soil now. You can plant anything into the soil, it will grow up. But if it is a chemical, is gone. It will take another 3 years for you to build up a good soil. So a chemical-free farm is one of the best method and can be sustainable. So don't ever read people who say, "Oh no, you can't survive. People don't buy. You will lose." No, you will actually save a lot of money and energy and also the health.
Yeah, I would like to add on to that Mr. Subarao has said. So, on top of that, if you're talking about sustainability in terms of business, it really comes down to how you run a business, your business model, your marketing, your sales, everything comes into place. It's not just, growing and that's it. Yeah. Hello. Am I still online?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, okay. Because I saw something that's been paused. Okay. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's like you can grow. Without pesticide, honestly speaking, that's what we are doing. Without pesticide at all. Do we still have pest problem? Yes, we do. Can we actually manage them? Yes, we do. Using like what Mr. Subarao says. Using some organic pest repellent, and it's still manageable. At the end of the day, everything it's boils down to how you manage it, and the effort, and also the what do you call that, the persistency, that you want to continue on to work with your farm. It does not mean when you don't use chemical, or you cannot be sustainable, or your vegetables cannot sell because of being destroyed by fungus or pests, whatsoever. There are ways, many ways can be done organically. Naturally, there are natural pests, just about Mr. Sumara says, there are natural pests, there are natural counters, there are always ways to do things. So yeah. Are we still online?
Yes, we are
Oh,
still
there we go.
online.
Okay,
Hi.
okay, we're still there. There
I'm
we
so
go.
sorry I have to take over the session. I think Hui Jing's line it's disrupted for a while. So thank you, Mr. Gary, for your answer. Okay. So yes, maybe we should carry on with the some of the questions we still have from our audience, which is a good question. Um, yeah, we have question from New Love Key. She asks, what are the easiest vegetables to grow? So I believe these are most many people will ask this question somehow when they trying to start their own veggie. So maybe Mr. Subaru, would you
Yeah.
like to
See,
help me
uh,
out with this?
yeah, there are vegetables that shorter one, the longer period lah. There's a 1 month grown vegetable like bayam merah, bayam hijau, and if you want to grow other type of vegetable, then you have to wait for some time. Either chili or brinjal, and so you can grow many kind of vegetable. You like what Gary said, go to Google and search, okay, you want 1 month or 2 month or 3 month. And we also have a book called Home Nutrition Garden. We have a very simple book, and like what when she said that we can give you some seeds, or you can buy from even from a shop. uh, so that's not a question that still can, no problem.
Mm-hmm. So sorry, guys. I lost my
uh,
connection. So, yeah, I'm back with the next question that we have here. Yeah, what's the next question on? Okay, Asha was asking, saying that yeah, she heard about vertical farm actually help the environment by reducing food miles. All right, so and thereby reduce the fuel consumption and greenhouse gas emission. However, anything replacing sun to grow, is it good to consume? Yeah,
Uh,
Gary, your question.
okay. So, if let's say you're talking about replacing sun, nothing can replace sun. Sun is by far the best light source, to grow.
Energy.
Yes, yes. If you're talking about indoor growing, can it be done? Yes, it can be done. Of course, using grow lights, but whether is it viable, if let's say you're talking about you're living in the Western countries, for example, you have really like just only 2 to 3 hours of sunlight, then indoor growing is the best. Yeah, because you don't have sunlight. But in Malaysia, you have 24. You have full year of sunlight. Yeah, full year. So all year round sunlight, all you need to do is just to put the plants out there, and then it can grow naturally, and it's natural sunlight. Yeah, unless you want to go for something, experiment in terms of indoor, that's fine with that. But to me, even though yes, we are venturing into all this agrotech, in terms of indoor growing, it can be very expensive. Not only in terms of putting money to buy your grow lights. Grow lights are literally expensive, and the power consumption. Even though yes, it's LED light, but the power consumption, because you're using a lot of amount of light emitting, so the power consumption is high. So if you're using indoor grow light, in terms of business point of view, your operational cost is going to be very high. At the end of the day, you might have to sell expensive vegetables, which actually depletes our core calling or mission. We want to be sustainable in urban farming, and we want our community to be able to afford, buying fresh, chemical free vegetables from us. So no point charging a high price if you're doing indoor growing. So if let's say you're not charging high price, then how are you going to cope up with the operational costs, from the power consumption, and even in fact your return of investment by buying grow lights and etc. So Malaysia, we are
Mm-hmm.
blessed with good sunlight. Yeah, just use the sunlight.
Yeah, okay. I hope that answered the question. So if you are actually venturing into business, then you should think about the cost and benefits things like what Gary have mentioned. Next questions, please. Okay, again, it's from Zara. Also a question about, it's a comment. Okay, Zara echoes what Gary said. Is an interesting concept. Is there an option for small family size vertical farming with more and more small families moving into apartments or condo? There are less space available for growing our own veggies. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Gary, I think this, Zaras, you can actually follow Mr. Gary's Facebook, as we have shown in the crawler. So you can actually inquiries more about the technology or the farming set that Mr. Gary is actually introducing later. Okay, so next question, please. Okay, from Mr. Sangha, can someone explain the difference between hybrid seed, which is used for hydroponic farming or urban farming, and also the normal seed? The difference between hybrid seed and also normal seeds. Mr. Subaru, would you like to take this question? Mr. Subaru, I think you mute your mic.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, I'm okay. You okay?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Now we
okay.
can hear you.
Mr. Sangha is one of the best headmaster in a local Tamil school in Bailampas Tamil School. He was formerly from Sungai Era, and one was the environmental teacher. Yes, we have all kind of even you can get some of the seeds from CAP. I think the best way is to put into the soil, you know, and let it grow, and but not in other ways. People are using in different methods. This kind of hybrid planting or seeds uh, kept always encourage people to do this kind of system.
All right. Okay, I think I can see that there are a lot more burning questions from our audience on live comments, but due to time constraint, we shall take the last two questions. Yeah, so for question that we actually didn't manage to address today, we can actually always forward it to our guests of invited guests. Yeah, Zara's is about chemical-free produce. Shouldn't chemical-free produce be cheaper than the conventional produce? Because she felt that chemical-free is the natural way. Am I misunderstanding this? I think it's a myth. So, anyone want to take this question?
Yeah. Uh, Actually, chemical-free produce, either it's a vegetable or fruit, supposed to be cheaper. But there is one culture among some of the people. They pack such a way that if you go to the supermarket in a hypermarket, they sell, it's supposed to be a 10 ringgit, they will sell it for you 35 ringgit. So we always ask the people, go and buy directly from the consumer. It's cheaper. But if you go to, because there's a middleman, there's a commission for the supermarket, and salary for the worker and everything. So it's supposed to be cheap. But if you can, even there's online, even if you find this particular farmer, just tell him to supply in KL. They're supplying into the box system. So they put
Mm,
4 or 5 vegetable, and they supply weekly to the farmer. So
correct.
so it's better buy from the farmer. It's cheaper. But you buy in supermarket, very expensive.
Yeah, that's why we need to support farmers market. But
Yes.
maybe Gary have some say in this from business point of view.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
on operation wise.
Yeah, of course, chemical-free produce, can be cheaper, but it really depends on where you buy from. Just like what Mr. Subarao has said, and I echo with him. Buy straight from the farm, because there's a lot of middlemen, wholesalers, in between. They have actually forced a lot of farmers to sell on a very cheap price, and then they just make the difference in between and sell it to end user. And there are levels, literally levels of middlemen in between. So if you can buy it from farmers, of course, definitely you get cheaper vegetables, because we have farm price, farmers price, we have wholesale price, then we have retail price in business point of view. And of course, if you are talking about some of them are organically done. For example, those have actually attained, their organic certification. For example, of course, they have to pay a premium price. Number one is that to do it on the organic way of growing, there are a lot of other resources, which are actually expensive for them to grow. Using all these other resources, and talking about time, because the growing time is actually definitely longer than the conventional. So, and of course, together with the certification, they have to bear the fees, all those things, to become a member. So you will have to buy more expensive, from all these so-called retail markets. So, and that's why if you want to go for something that is cheaper in a way that is sustainable and what do you call that, chemical free, then go to the local farmers, the urban farmers. They are able to produce something that is without chemical. And more so, the best way is that grow yourself, just like what Mr.
Yeah.
Subara has always say.
That's why we have today's session about urban farming. Unfortunately, another guest, Miss Hui, have actually lost her connection. Else, she would be happy to share more about the grow market, a farmers market that she have actually started. Yeah. So, one last questions for today's session. Can we have the last questions from Gary also? So Gary Oy mentioned that the pipings and container used to funnel the nutrients in hydroponic, when they leach any chemicals at all, the media used may be organic, but what about the container themselves? I think this is specifically for Mr. Gary, the question. Yeah.
Yeah. So of course it has to voice back to the manufacturing, the product, the plastic products that they manufacture, whether is it, what do you call that, food safe, or whether is it chemical content. So it we voice down to the food, the source, of the plastics that you're talking about. So most of the so-called DIY, they just buy off some plastics, from hardware shops and start to do something like that. So it's on a trial basis. Okay, let's experiment with that. But of course, if let's say you want to do something good, go for the food grade, the PE quality, which is actually the PP or the PE. These are all the plastics. But some of them, they are using some sort of ABS plastics. Of course, it looks nice, but then they will still have some chemical. But of course, if let's say you're not burning them, it's not like too hot, then you won't have all this so-called chemical leach. Yeah, unless you're burning them. Unless it's very hot, like boiling, then of course you will have all this chemical disposed. But as long as like being maintained in a cool temperature, then you won't have all this chemical leach. But of course, this one I have to go back to the plastic experts, the plastic manufacturers. You can ask them more on these factors, to learn more from them.
Yeah, right. Thank you very much. I hope Gary's answers Gary's questions in this case. All right. We love to answer all questions that you have posted here, but unfortunately, we are now at 12:24. So yeah, I would like to do a small conclusions. So hopefully, this session, today's Sembang session, yes,
Oh,
can.
I'm sorry. I would like to actually answer one of the question that are being
Oh,
asked
all right.
earlier. Sorry, yeah. This one is
Yeah.
talking about the rural questions. Rural economy. If let's say everybody is doing urban farming,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. The first
what
question.
happened to the rural economy? So it still come back to how we do business sustainability. How we actually are able to uh, impact the rural people. How can we bring their produce back to business, for example. So in terms of farming or growing is a technique, how you produce, but how you do business is totally entirely different. So the rural people have to be educated in such a way that they know how to grow. At the same time, what are the supports can we city folks can help them to sell their produce so that they can be sustainable, so that we can impact both the rural and also the urbans. So that's my
Mhm.
answer.
All right, thank you, Gary. Speaking of which, I think Mr. Sumaru can also comment a little bit because you have trained so many farmers and also housewife. So this could be one of their income source when they venture into urban farming. Do you have some thought to share about?
Yeah, see, there's not an issue whether rural farming or urban farming, but
Mm-hmm.
in urban farming, the cost may be a bit high now. But in rural farming, you don't have much because if you want to produce EM or any growth promoter, you can get the supply from your surrounding areas. So,
Mm-hmm.
nothing affect. I think if you do farming in a rural area, it's more viable than in urban areas. Because urban areas, you are limited space, and also you want to sell, yeah, but first produce for yourself, only for yourself first. Then later on, when you think it's success, go find a place, then you can sell it out. That's why we always ask the people, if you have a
Mm-hmm.
small land, like what earlier people say, want to vertical unit inside a house. No, try. There is a sunlight every time, So why you want to cover up, want to grow something inside the room and then put the temperature with a high cost, and if it's failed, then you blame, oh, this vertical unit is failed, it's bluffing, that and all. So don't invest too much money on this. First begin with smaller one. Once you success, you can go further in other part.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Subaru. So, thank you to our guests. I guess we come to the end of this interview. I would like to do a small conclusion. We hope that this session actually able to help more people, our general public, to be more aware about what you are taking in, the food accessibility, affordability, and also the safety issues. So, in another hand, if you are unable to plant your own food at the moment due to certain constraint, then maybe think about supporting our local farmers, buy local. So we are pretty confident that if we are able to do it collectively, sooner or later we probably don't need to spend so much on this high-end quality food, and we do not need to sacrifice the food quality over the cost. All right. Once again, thank you very much to Mr. Gary, Mr. Subaru, and also Miss Hui Yi, who has lost the connection. If you have more questions to actually to our guests, you can always follow them at the crawler below. We have their Facebook at Consumer Association of Penang, at Victory Farm, at Rooftop Malaysia. You can always inbox them, or probably through PGC, you can email us. We can help to forward your questions. For those questions that we are unable to address today, we will try our best to answer you after this. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Gary and Mr. Subaru. Have a nice day. All right. Okay. So for our audience who are still there, thank you very much because you have actually stayed through with us and spending your beautiful morning with us. Yeah, shout out to my colleagues who have supported the whole session behind the scene. Thank you very much. If you would like to meet the awesome team, awesome PGC team behind the scene, we are now on our Facebook, YouTube, and also Instagram, and also website. So you can search through all these social media, Penang Green Council, to get latest information about our projects and program. To our followers, yeah, I would like to do a small announcement about our next episode of Sembang. Stay tuned for it for episode 4, Sembang, on the 28th of July. Same time, same platform. Facebook Live, we are going to discuss about sustainable business ideas. And coming up next, as I've mentioned earlier of today, the day after tomorrow, on the 2nd of July, we have climate change in Penang webinar series. As you can see from the screen here, yeah, we are going to discuss in a more in-depth manner about food security issue again. So yeah, feel free to join. Pre-registration is needed for this webinar series. If you think that today session is not enough, always welcome to join us the day after tomorrow, which is on this Thursday, 2nd of July, 10 o'clock. Pre-registration is needed. All right. Yeah, that's all for today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Hui Jing, your host today, signing off now. Thank you and have a nice weekend. Goodbye.